From KHOU-TV Houston, the spirit of Texas, this is 11 News with Steve Smith, Marlene McClinton, Dr. Neil Frank with weather, and Giff Nielsen on sports.
A violent act took his life more than a dozen years ago, but the murder of Harvey Milk is now the subject of a groundbreaking opera set to premiere this weekend right here in Houston. Janice Williamson has more on this controversial story of an openly gay politician.
Harvey Milk was a man who believed in hope. That's one of the reasons his life is the subject of a dramatic opera premiering in Houston. Milk was San Francisco's first openly gay elected public official when he was gunned down by a former co-worker 16 years ago. But Barry Mandel says it is Milk's legacy as a human being, not as a gay activist, that should leave audiences inspired.
I think the legacy of Harvey Milk is that individuals not be judged on characteristics like sexual orientation, race, religion, physical handicaps, and that they really be judged based on the quality of their character and the commitment that they make to the community at large.
I'm sure there's a lot of people in town who feel that arts should deal with just safe things.
The Houston Post, Juan Palamo, wrote a column entitled, "Is Houston Ready for Harvey Milk?" Palamo says some of his readers dislike the idea of homosexuality being, quote, glorified on the stage. But Palamo believes it is a story with a powerful message.
He was a man who spoke constantly over and over again about hope and about offering people hope. And I think people who go to the opera, whether they're gay or straight, will get that message very clear.
At a sold-out special benefit performance Thursday night, the audience gave the opera glowing reviews.
I think it's very moving and very touching, and I think it hits us on a very topical subject. It's something that's happening today, which is what opera and art is about.
This is very melodic. The story is powerful. It's contemporary, current issue, and I think it's weaving itself together really remarkably well.
Harvey Milk is also attracting international attention. Critics from across the country as well as Europe are expected on opening night. Janice Williamson, 11 News.
News around the world and Houston. This is TV 51, KNWS TV, Katy, Houston.
Well, in October, the volunteers received the Joseph Ainsworth Volunteer Community Award, the highest service award that MD Anderson gives out. Well, what defines an American hero? That's the question behind a new contemporary opera in town. The Houston Grand Opera is presenting the world premiere of Harvey Milk. Felicia Griffin talks with one of its creators.
Just one person, but I have hope.
The opera, Harvey Milk, is about the life of San Francisco's first openly gay elected official. The opera explores Harvey Milk's strict Jewish family upbringing, his early career on Wall Street, the battles within himself about being gay, and how he transformed himself into a galvanizing political activist loved by some and hated by others.
Harvey was a great bridge builder to the women's community, the African American community, the Latino community, the very substantial Asian American community in San Francisco, which was normally conservative. But Harvey had this natural charisma, charm. He was compelling, and he made great alliances.
Michael Korie is the librettist who did extensive research about Harvey Milk and wrote the words for the opera.
You don't want people to look at it as a gay opera?
No, I wanted them to look at it as an opera. I think that Harvey Milk is a true American hero, and that when he stood up for the rights of his community and his constituents, he was really standing up for the liberty of every American.
How confident are you that this is a viable project that can take on a larger life?
I believe that a strong story is a good assurance for an audience's involvement. If we care about the people that we're watching, we sort of forget about, I think, prejudices that we come in with. And maybe some people will emerge changed.
I stand up for myself.
The Houston Grand Opera premiere of Harvey Milk opens Saturday night and runs through February 5th at the Wortham Center's Brown Theater. Ticket prices start at $10. For more information, call arts. With the Theater District Report, Felicia Griffin, KNWS, Houston's All News Channel.
Channel 13, KTRK-TV, Houston.
The world premiere of a brand new opera, Harvey Milk, is tomorrow night. Milk, a city supervisor in San Francisco, was gunned down along with the mayor in 1978. And as Elmer Barrera reports, the Houston Grand Opera tells the story of Milk's dramatic life.
And Harvey Milk. He exploded into the San Francisco political scene as a leader with a passion for civil rights for all people.
I'd call him an American hero. His battles were fought on behalf of the gay and lesbian rights movement, but really, he was fighting for the right of every American.
The story of Harvey Milk is an American tragedy. An elected official assassinated in 1978 before he was able to complete his work. But the composer says the opera is about Harvey Milk's life, not his death.
There are things that really sing. I mean, Harvey Milk as a figure is very large. And it's those large figures, those mythic figures, who make music, for me anyway.
And they say even non-opera goers will appreciate Harvey Milk, the opera.
It's dramatic and compelling and sometimes very funny. There were many people laughing last night, as I have seldom seen in an opera.
The music comes from the kind of music that we all grew up with, so it's very American, it's very rhythmic.
The premiere is Saturday night and runs through February 5th. I'm Elma Barrera, 13 Eyewitness News.
Channel 13, KTRK-TV, Houston.
And in less than 2 hours, the world premiere of the Harvey Milk Opera begins. The opera chronicles the life and tragic death of San Francisco's first openly gay elected official. Milk was an activist for civil rights.
He was an opera freak. He really loved opera, and of all the different media things that have occurred, documentary, etc., I think he would be happier about this one than any of them.
The Houston Grand Opera will give 6 performances of Harvey Milk through Sunday, February 5th at the Wortham Center's Brown Theater. Milk was assassinated in 1978.
These are just a few of this week's sights and sounds of Houston.
Commercial operas to come along is Harvey Milk. Houston Grand Opera's production now on stage at the Wortham Center. There was even a community meeting of 300 people shortly before the opening called "Is Houston Ready for Harvey Milk?" It will run on the Wortham's Big Brown Theater stage through the 5th of February.
This is News Center 4 at 6, your 24-hour news service.
This is the Grand Opera in Houston, Texas, where they're singing the song of Harvey Milk. I'm Henry Tenenbaum. I'll have that story for you later on News Center 4.
Later on, Henry Tenenbaum and the world premiere of a new opera about Harvey Milk.
Thank you, Gary. One of the Bay Area's most famous and, here we are, controversial politicians is now the subject of an opera. It is about the life of murdered San Francisco supervisor Harvey Milk. Now, the work is being premiered by the Houston Grand Opera, and our entertainment editor, Henry Tenenbaum, is just back from Texas with an exclusive first look.
Harvey Milk was a New York stockbroker who burst out of the closet and onto the San Francisco political scene. Harvey Milk was the unofficial mayor of Castro Street. Harvey Milk was San Francisco's first openly gay elected official. And Harvey Milk was murdered in 1978. Harvey Milk and Mayor George Moscone assassinated by disgruntled supervisor Dan White. Those tragic events may seem like an unlikely subject for an opera, but just moments ago, here in Houston, Texas, we watched the first public performance of the opera Harvey Milk. It is a sort of coming out party, the opera Harvey Milk. Hardly hummable, but a tale well told. Its strength is its staging and its subject. a man who reshaped his life from closet queen to political powerhouse, an avid opera lover who lived an operatic life.
That was the big question to me. What makes a man change the course of his life in midstream?
He's a mythic figure. You know, most of the operas that have been written about single figures as the center of them are about people who are larger than life. And it's a tragic life. Not the life, but the end of the life is a tragedy. So it almost screams out for opera.
It may also raise some eyebrows among opera fans here in Texas, though no serious protests have materialized yet.
I enjoy it from the standpoint that somebody gave their life for something they believed in.
I think that we'll probably find a lot of adverse reaction from the audience.
What do you think Harvey Milk would think of this opera?
Right now, I think it needed a little work.
I would like him to think that we did him justice.
So why the premiere in Houston and not in San Francisco?
A very good question. And I'm not exactly sure what the answer is. The official answer is that by the time this whole thing got firmed up, there are 3 companies co-producing it: New York City Opera, the Grand Opera of Houston, and San Francisco Opera. By the time it all got firmed up, San Francisco had this season and next season all solid. And so we're not going to see it until 1996.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, but there's just no room for it. In the meantime, they plan way in advance.
All right, Henry. Thank you for that.
This is News Center 4 Daybreak, your 24-hour news service.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Daybreak on this wet Sunday morning. We hope, in fact, the rain stays mainly off the plain.
One of the Bay Area's more famous and controversial politicians, Harvey Milk, is now the subject of an opera.
Yeah, we went to Houston last week to check it out. The Houston Grand Opera Company is doing an opera. It is called Harvey Milk. Now, Harvey Milk was, of course, the gay San Francisco city supervisor who was assassinated along with Mayor George Moscone. Harvey Milk loved opera, and he lived an operatic life.
Harvey Milk was a New York stockbroker who burst out of the closet and onto the San Francisco political scene. Harvey Milk was the unofficial mayor of Castro Street. Harvey Milk was San Francisco's first openly gay elected official. And Harvey Milk was murdered in 1978. Harvey Milk and Mayor George Moscone assassinated by disgruntled supervisor Dan White.
Those tragic events may seem like an unlikely subject for an opera, but just moments ago, here in Houston, Texas, we watched the first public performance of the opera Harvey Milk.
It is a sort of coming out party, the opera Harvey Milk. Hardly hummable, but a tale well told. Its strength is its staging and its subject. A man who reshaped his life from closet queen to political powerhouse. An avid opera lover who lived an operatic life.
That was the big question to me. What makes a man change the course of his life in midstream?
He's a mythic figure. You know, most of the operas that have been written about single figures as the center of them are about people who are larger than life. And it's a tragic life. Not the life, but the end of the life is a tragedy. So it almost screams out for opera.
It may also raise some eyebrows among opera fans here in Texas, though no serious protests have materialized yet.
I enjoy it from the standpoint that somebody gave their life for something they believed in.
I think that we'll probably find a lot of adverse reaction from the audience.
Does that make you nervous at all, putting an opera like this on to an audience like that?
I feel that the story of Harvey Milk is so compelling that it will cross those barriers.
This is daring, but it's the kind of new opera that holds your attention start to finish, and it's a story that needs to be told. They've done it beautifully.
What do you think Harvey Milk would think of this opera?
Right now, I think it needed a little work.
I would like him to think that we did him justice.
Harvey Milk.
Ironic, they said it in, I mean, it was started in Houston, of all places, and not in San Francisco.
Why not San Francisco? Well, apparently, this thing has been in the offing for some time. It's a joint production among three companies, San Francisco Opera, the New York City Opera, and the Houston Grand Opera. By the time it all came together, San Francisco had this season, next season already committed, so we're not going to see the opera Harvey Milk until 1996. Now, the composer said, well, that may be okay, because frankly, it is still a work in progress.
Did you like the music?
I liked parts of the music. I liked the story, and I love the staging. It's a very moving opera. I think for a new opera, it's excellent. I'm always a little edgy about new operas, but I think it's a good one.
Good. Thanks, Henry.